Hello. Welcome to the Run Amok Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Run Amok Podcast, home of the best Bachelor recaps on this side of Santa Monica. As always, I'm your host, David Stahl, and alongside me, as always, my loyal compadre, producer Gary, to break down the latest drama from our favorite franchise. Producer Gary, ripping off the seal of a new season. How's it going?
It's going great. Couldn't be better, honestly. Yeah.
Skeptical coming in, but I think we both agree. We're all in.
Based on last night, I'm all in.
I think it's going to be a mess. I think we may be dealing with a bit of a doofus, perhaps.
Yeah.
A bit of a Peter on steroids situation.
Horn
not
dog.
Behavioral wise, but just physically. He's just it's just back to basics where we got a bit of a bad boy bachelor.
Yeah.
Which I think is a bit overdue, may I say? I don't know. I think the last, Matt James was very vanilla. I think Clayton's ready to spice it up a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. First things first, before we dive into a very, very, very exciting premiere episode and kind of preview what's to come for the rest of the season, we got to do a bit of house cleaning. I'm going to say welcome, first of all, to any new listeners, and also a little forewarning. Look, we like to keep the energy up most of the time. I was telling producer Gary, your boy's not feeling too hot. Your boy got the COVID booster shot yesterday, and midway through the day, we got the chills brewing. We got a bit of a headache going. We got a warm black coffee trying to tide us over, but it's not really doing the trick. So
for long-time listeners, though, we're veterans of podcasting while under the weather.
We are veterans of podcasting under the weather.
That's a deep cut.
Under extreme circumstances. So we're going to push through. But if it's not quite as entertaining as you might expect, maybe give us another chance next week. That being said, if you do enjoy the podcast, if you do enjoy the episode, rate, review, subscribe. The biggest thing, though, tell a friend. That is how you put a little tip in the tip jar. Just tap someone on the shoulder, go up to them, whisper in their ear, the Run Amok Podcast. And then just walk away.
Yep.
Let them figure it out on their own. Now, before we dive in, also, this is a call to action. Tell us your thoughts in the comments section below. Agree with us on our takes. Disagree with us on our takes. Give some insight. No spoilers, please. But we always love insight from off the show. We love rumors. We love gossip. Put that in the comment section below. And each week, we pick out a piece of listener mail to feature from either the comment section or the email or the DMs, whatever it may be. We're going to feature you, give you a shout out this week, because the first week we only got one person to listener mail, and it's an apology to this listener because we love her dearly. I don't know, she may have sworn us off at this point, Gary, which is fair
I don't
enough.
think so.
I hope not, because she's a longtime fan and we always appreciate her feedback. But last night we were making a lot of jokes. Because, I should give some context. You can see it on the channel. We do a live stream every week of the episode. So it's us reacting along with the episode. So if you're watching alone or with friends and you want a couple other friends to watch with, pop in with us, throw us some comments and watch alongside us. But we upload those after the fact as separate videos. And we were giggling last night, Gary, because when we saw those contestants flood out of the limo, we could not help but say, a lot of these girls, no offense, very beautiful.
Yeah.
You look very similar to one another.
Well, it's already almost an impossible task to name all the girls' first night anyways, but when you add 40 blonde women, white women at that.
All blonde white
they're
women.
all the same.
And there was some diversity. We saw Teddy in there. We saw, I think the cast itself is fine. But then it was so funny. We had diversity, but then within Caucasian women, it was Mara, Genevieve, and then 40 identical, it was twins times 80, and they all had similar jobs. So we got very confused. And so we were joking around how they all look the exact same. And our beloved listener, Lori Mary, said, as a blonde white woman, I'm offended. Fair enough. But I will say, I bet you look just distinctly you, Lori. We would be able to pick you out of a crowd. Claire, on the other hand, well, maybe we'd remember Claire. But that being said, let's dive into a very, very exciting episode featuring quadruplets. What do you call when a group of 30 women are all twins.
A gaggle of
A gaggle.
blondes.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Now, Gary, I don't know if you even, I didn't realize this until midway through the episode, but we're back at the Bachelor Mansion. It feels good to be back. Were we back for Michelle's season?
I don't know. I think you brought it up yesterday. We weren't sure if we were back for Michelle's season. Clearly, we don't pay attention. But
we're back this season. It feels good. And initially, right off the bat, it is very clear that we have a bachelor in our midst who is so excited to find love. This dude he is so ready not only to find love, but to fall in love. I feel like we're going to see Clayton fall in love with 50 of these women.
Yeah.
And here's first, he's smooching everyone. He's talking to everybody for 3 seconds before going in for the smooch, which we love with the bachelor or bachelorette. Go experiment. You got to know.
Yeah.
But this is my thought, Gary, and we can get into it more when we see the preview again. I think Clayton is telling so many women that he loves them that can't be the final 3 at the end.
That's what I think it's just my perspective on it is these 3 got caught up in the drama and they found out that he told them he loved them or got intimate or whatever with these 3 specifically. And this scene that they're showing us in the trailers is them dealing with that situation. Just that alone. I don't think they would spoil the top 3 like that. I really don't.
I don't think they can. I don't know how, but they're tricking us. This cannot be the case because they showed it again. We were saying, okay, if they don't show us that preview, maybe they're like, oh my God, an intern made a mistake. That wasn't supposed to be in the cut, blah, blah, blah. No, they ran it back again. So I don't know how, but they got to be bamboozling us. So I'm not worried about that. I think Clayton's just throwing out I love yous like their little after dinner mints. But it is also hilarious. We get a new hosting debut from Jesse Palmer, who I think we both love, but it is hilarious how identical him and Clayton look. I said it last night. If Jesse Palmer just went boom, boom, and like blew up a little bit, that's your boy Clayton. They are identical. But I don't know. What did you think? He's very polished. He's very clearly, he's the host of Monday Morning Quarterback. He's got hosting experience. He's been the lead on this show some time ago. But I don't know. Here's something I saw online. Apparently, he used to hate being asked about his connection to the show. Like, he used to just kind of disavow the fact that he was the lead ever. And he was like, look, I'm just trying to be a actual like TV personality or a sports journalist in some sense. I don't want to be attached to it. But I guess the old saying rings true. Massive checks heal all wounds, right? Yeah, money talks. But how'd you like his debut?
I thought he was solid. I don't know how the masses feel about him, but I think he's, I don't want to say a step up from Tayshia and Caitlin because they had their place. They did their job.
I do.
But I think he fits the host role a little bit better, for sure.
I think he's more of a host. And that's so fair. It depends on what you want. I'm sure some viewers are like, I like the authenticity that Caitlin brings. I love Tayshia. I don't know if she like really, I think she lives somewhere in the middle where it's like very formal and kind of rigid, but also not really hosty. I'm all in on Jesse Palmer. I think he did a great job, and he has those pauses. He nails those pauses. He just like absolutely hits those moments.
I think too is I think there's too much personality coming from Caitlin and Tayshia. As a host, you almost want a little bit toned back personality, kind of like outside of the show. Actually, they want to be separated from it, and I think Jesse Palmer did a good job of that. I think he's gonna kill it for sure.
I think you nailed that. You want him to fade into the background a little bit. Yeah. But let's dive in. Let's dive into where this episode really starts. We see Clayton hugging his family. We hear, "Oh, I'm really excited. I want a wife and kids." Yeah. We know, buddy. Let's dive into the juiciness, which starts immediately. And I didn't really realize until I went back last night. This goes on for a quarter of the episode, Gary. This went from pretty much 8 to 8:30 was our introduction to Sally, who, dude, okay, first of all, I misunderstood the situation because it's tough sometimes. We're chatting. We're going back and forth with the chat. We're commenting. We missed a little bit of a detail. I think you picked up on this, but I missed it. I thought it was the anniversary of what would have been her wedding weekend. Like, no, it was they broke up a year before.
Wedding weekend.
It was her actual wedding weekend.
Yeah.
What an insane. And so people hate Sally online. From what I'm understanding, or from what, I don't know, from what people are saying on Twitter, it sounds like the producers figured out that she was maybe coming on the show just for notoriety and forced her to come for that one day and take herself off the show, because it seemed like she had no business being on there, and she seemed to kind of know that. I don't know. What were your thoughts? It was a very weird way to kick it off, because I don't know, maybe we should give a bit more detail. Basically, she comes in, she knocks on Clayton's door 5 hours before the limos arrive.
Yeah.
Another interesting
for people
detail.
who don't know the show, that doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen. For people who also don't know the show or the norms and logistics of it, they are under no circumstances supposed to have phones. And I don't know if we commented on this at the time, Gary. I think we did.
I don't think we caught it.
You don't think we caught it? Yeah.
No.
But after the fact, I was thinking, like, she was on a phone call with her family when she goes out to after Clayton talks to her. You can't have a phone on the Bachelor set. So that to me was like, okay, I think she was a producer plant. I don't know what you think.
I don't know what to think either. I kind of like the idea of her being forced off the show kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you said it was a weird situation, but it was weird, but I loved it. Like, it was
it was great to watch, though.
Like, electric start to the season for sure. And I kind of do. We were theorizing about it last night. I want to see her back. I want to see her come back, cause some shit. I don't know if it'll happen, though. I don't think after what's come out, I don't think it'll happen. But
we'll get into someone else who made some waves, who I would guarantee is coming back later. But we'll get into that. I would also be very interested to see her come back. But we do see Clayton, his horrible start to the season for him, rejection right off the bat. And I was wondering at the time, why are producers setting him up to fail, Gary? Do you think it's because then we cheer for him? Because to be honest, it kind of worked. Like, when she left, he offers her the rose, which, again, more evidence that this dude is literally ready to fall in love with anybody. Yeah. Didn't know her at all. He goes, I think we get along beautifully. Well, you don't know her. She might be a serial killer. So let's slow your roll just a tad. But he goes, I really like you. I think there's a connection here. Here's the rose. She rejects it. It was a tough look for him. You're right. I'm saying weird because we've never seen it before, but it was great TV. I don't think she comes back later in the season. I think you're saying she comes back later in a different season altogether, maybe a Paradise or whatever. But I don't think she comes back. I think we just got 30 solid minutes of content out of it. And I'm happy with that. I don't know. Did you have anything?
I'm content with that. I don't need to see her again this season. We're done with her.
There were just, it was a fun switch up. It was a fun switch up because sometimes the first episode, it can be like, oh, limo entrances. Some were lame. Some were good. There were a couple standouts. Who got the first impression?
They did a good job of, they usually do a good job of this, but they did a really good job of skipping over the ones that just no one cared about. Like, yeah,
it's funny. We noticed, like, it does just get faster.
You go
at some
through the
point,
first
right?
like 10, and then it takes like 30 minutes, and then they go through the rest in 5 minutes.
Yeah, we get a quick little montage. Yeah. Once again, 4,000 blonde white women. That's not an insult to any of our blonde white audience. It's an objective fact. I saw it all over the internet. They were all siblings from the same clan. Undoubtedly, they were identical. But let's touch on a couple of our standouts. Maybe I think we both loved Rachel and Susie. Rachel. She was the one who really wanted Clayton to fly. That was that whole conversation. She was trying to convince him.
And he's like, no, I don't want to fly. She's like, no,
you
have to
I
fly.
will kill us. And she's like, no, you got to give it a shot. I will murder both of us by accident. But could that man fit in a cockpit either?
No chance.
I'm not trying to like harp on it. He's a big boy.
That's probably why he didn't want to fly. There was an incident one time where he just couldn't get out of the cockpit.
The plane's too front heavy. It just starts to like teeter down as soon as he.
It's like, Clayton, you gotta jump.
He sits down. Yeah. But we also liked Susie, who looked identical to Hannah Brown. I liked her a lot. And you really liked Teddy. Teddy with an I. She goes, her first entrance, Teddy, like teddy bear. Well, it's spelled differently, Teddy. It's not Teddy like a teddy bear. A little misleading. But this is what I liked about Teddy. And we'll see if you agree, Gary, because we got the classic virgin character introduction where one of the first things she says, hey, I'm a virgin. But she didn't overplay it like they normally do, because the way the virgin card is almost always played, she just said, yeah, I just want to wait till I'm in love with someone, which I totally respect and understand. Every other time it's like, hey, Madison Pruitt on Peter's season, oh, I'm super Christian, or it's an athlete who's super Christian, and we hear about, which It's not a bad thing at all. It's just a bit played out. And we hear about, oh, sports culture. I'm a baseball player. I'm supposed to be banging all the time. And I feel so repressed. That was Colton. That was Mike P. So I thought we didn't harp on it too much. We got to know Teddy
it was
outside
refreshing,
of that.
yeah. And she also, I think it was her that said she wasn't going to kiss him the first night or something along those lines. And she just threw that out the window immediately.
Well, I think Clayton threw that out the window. That man, he was like unequivocally a horn dog. I think we called Peter Weber Horn Dog Pete throughout the season.
Yeah.
We got to come up with a better name for Clayton.
But Clayton's going to have that moniker for now.
Oh, he has the identity as a classic horn dog. But we went through the best. Were there any other ones that you liked that stood out to you? Because I want to go through some of the worst after.
Honestly, not really. Like, I'm going to be honest. I don't remember 90% of their names. But those are definitely the standouts. If I had to pick another one, Marlena, the Olympian girl. We didn't get a lot of screen time from her, but I see her going far.
I like that vibe a lot.
But that's my only other really standout,
Yeah. There were some great contestants. There was also I'm sorry. Well, I'm just going to be describing them in the easiest way possible. But there was because we will get to know the names at this point. Impossible. But there was that other beautiful black woman. I think she was wearing a blue dress and she was narrating a lot. She was given a lot of I don't know too many confessionals, but she was watching all the entrances. She was
seems
commenting,
like the comic relief for the season,
which we need. I think we were talking on the stream. She might take on the Justin Glaze role from Katie's season, and that is invaluable. So I think we have a great cast. But some of the worst entrances, how about I run through my worst ones and you just go yes or no, whether you liked them or didn't. Okay. Yeah. Small car, big car. Someone came up in the small car, then we got the big car roll over it. Not bad, but we literally saw it last season.
If they had done it 2 seasons ago, maybe they could have gotten away with it. Yeah. But like you said, they literally did it last season. So like, come on, guys.
And this one wasn't even someone's livelihood. It was just, hey, I'm driving in a small car for no reason.
Okay. They definitely forced her to do that for the bit as well.
Oh, no doubt. It made no sense. It's just like, so what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a grade 2 teacher. So what was the car? Yeah, I don't know. At
least the fire truck had some like relevancy. Yeah,
I liked it when they did it. Played out this time. Okay, how about this? I combined 2 of them because I put them in the same subcategory. It's horny puns. We see it every year. We got the nips, where she pulls out the nips. They take the shot. And the sit on your face, which is a little bit more graphic. She pulls out a pillow with Clayton's face. Now,
and it's not even a pun or anything. It's
not a pun. It's saying
on the pillow.
It's perhaps a double entendre, if you will. It's a hell of a sentence to say. I'm gonna sit on your face. Those are rarely endearing to me. I feel like those people also never win. Like, is it the horny lines that make it to the top 3? I don't think ever really. The nips wasn't bad, just because, or it wasn't horrible, just because I don't mind the idea of them taking the shot. But I'm out on puns. Get me out of there with the puns.
Yeah.
Now, how about this one, Gary? I think we may be divided on this one because I loved it initially. The no talker. The no talker. We have someone come in entirely mute. I thought it was a radical, very bold, but awesome play it cool move. It just didn't work.
No, I know.
You got to talk more once you're in the house.
If it worked, I would have loved it. But
she had to be more assertive. She had to be more assertive once she got in the house.
Yeah.
Yank him away. And then we said, okay, if you're going to go, you can't say anything. You got to give him a hug and be friendly, but you got to stay mute. And she goes, sorry, like, hope you find your person. No, you got to stick to the bit. But I think she would have had a better chance at Paradise had she committed to the bit harder. Mm-hmm. But I think we'll see her again.
Well, now this
one I'm passionate about. If you don't agree, Gary, we honestly, and I mean, like, I value you as a friend, but we might not even just be done for this podcast. We might just be done friendship-wise. Because if you're not on the same page, we don't align in core values of which people are too annoying to be around.
That is fair.
The sauce. Mara. It's too much, man. It's too much with the sauce.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Maybe it's not a horrible entrance if you do it there and that's it.
Yeah.
But she stuck to it. And she made it her
way
shtick.
too hard.
Way too hard. She even when she took Clayton away, she's like, "Here's sauce, and we're gonna eat the sauce." And it's
just
like,
out of a jar with no no bread,
Nothing.
no nothing to go with it. No palate cleanser. It's just okay. We're going from wings to marinara sauce, and a few. I hate to just go with it, but she goes, "It's Mara, like marinara sauce." No, it's not, because marinara is Mari. If you're Mari, you can say it's Mari, like marinara sauce, spelled differently. Also, she goes, "I'm spicy, like marinara sauce." Oh, you mean a notoriously mild sauce? None of it made sense. Yeah. I honestly hate to say this, and I know she watches. I know she's a subscriber to the podcast, so I feel bad. I hated her, dude. I really did. And the worst part is she seemed pretty nice too. Like, it's not even like she did something mean. I just thought she was so annoying. I couldn't stand her. Did you agree, or were you kind of like,
no, I fully agree.
Less impassioned?
She was just relentlessly. If she didn't stick to it, I would have been fine. Would have been fine.
It was just too much. Yeah. It was just too much.
It's the opposite of the no talking bit. You just don't stick with it because it's a bad bit.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
You gotta read the room. You can stick with it. Yeah.
You gotta read the room.
Yes.
Like a Rick. I think Rick played it perfectly.
That's Michelle's the perfect season. Like James. Even James stuck to the bit a little too hard.
It's a tough balance. It's a tough balance. And borderline, he may have not been able to figure his way out of that box. Not the sharpest tool in the shed. He may have just been battering that helmet of gelled hair against that box for half an hour. But let's dive into someone who maybe less annoying than Mara, to me at least, but far more toxic. Claire. Let's dive into Claire. Because look, but let's start off with this though, because I saw a lot of people online, and this is going to surprise you maybe, Gary. I saw a lot of people online defending Claire.
Yeah.
So for people who didn't watch the episode,
understand that angle.
Neither do I. Because for people who don't watch the show, which is hilarious to me, some people just watch this for the banter, and I respect it. But it, again, always helps to watch the show. But that being said, in the show, this girl, she takes Clayton aside, and she has a game of cornhole set up for him. Then she has some appetizers. Gary, you made a very succinct point. Too many appetizers. You can't expect him to try that many apps at once. You got 30 women there. It's not a one-on-one date. He wasn't really vibing cornhole. To be fair, he really wasn't vibing the whole situation. And I think she could tell. And I think what people were thinking online when they were defending her was like, oh, what, contestants don't have to like The Bachelor. Oh, they don't have to fake it. She's just being real. Fair enough. I think it's fair for her to essentially take herself out. I think that's honorable. Yeah. There's no connection there. But she was so unnecessarily rude in front of the rest of the girls. It was just very clearly a hurt ego. I saw people vibing online. She seems too toxic. And so basically Clayton goes up, and she comes in after, because I think it was Mara who steals her away from Claire. Yeah. And so Claire kind of storms off, and she goes back in the house and goes, oh, it just wasn't a vibe. Oh, I can't date America's sweetheart. He's too much of a good guy for me. He's too much of a poster boy.
Yeah.
First of all, you were expecting America's bad boy from Clayton? From that dude, the guy who's like, oh, I want to have 1 million kids and cuddle my wife for 8 hours a day. Like, he's obviously a teddy bear. I don't know what you were expecting.
Yeah.
But it was a bit too much for me. I'm out. I know other people like her. But I'll ask you this. How much money would you bet that we see her on Paradise? Because I might bet my whole savings.
Guaranteed she comes back. And I didn't like her, but I think she should have doubled down on when Clayton pulled her aside. I think she just should have leapt into it. Been like, yeah, I hate you. You suck. It would have been.
Well, that was a hilarious conversation, because Clayton goes, like, you never think you're going to hear The Bachelor go, so people in the house, night 1, too, people in the house are saying, you hate me, which is such an extreme feeling about the guy that you just like wanted to marry half an hour ago after 5 minutes of interaction. It feels borderline impossible to hate someone. She goes, no, I don't hate you, which is a hilarious response of not like, no, that's not true at all. It's like, no, I wouldn't. Maybe I said hate, but it's more of like a disgust sort of thing. It's more of a
visceral dislike.
Yeah.
No, but exactly. I think she should have doubled down there and just
said, yeah, fuck
I hate you. You suck. And then she would have, in the people that are already with her's eyes, she would have looked better. And within the Bachelor community, like the producers and them, they
More
would have
electric.
been like, we're getting you back on Paradise immediately. You're going to be the first on the island. Like, get out here.
But she'll be back. She'll still be back.
So,
of course. Yeah. I don't know. And then we kind of, I don't know. I don't want to skip ahead. We kind of head into the rose ceremony. I feel like he didn't have a standout connection with anyone, though. Like, you can tell me that. I know you're a Teddy guy. She seems very nice.
Yeah.
But I feel like we didn't really get much of a connection there. It was mostly just a makeout.
His biggest connection that he made was
Claire.
Sally,
yes, yeah.
And she left immediately right off within the first 20 minutes before she got introduced. So yeah, I think you're right, but maybe, like, again, we didn't probably see a whole lot because we got an hour and a half of him getting introduced to them, and as we see in the rose ceremony, it's the morning. They were up all
it's
night.
Always so jarring when we look out the window and it is just so bright. We've talked to Ed Weisbro, we've talked to Brendan Quinn about this from Tayshia's season, Katie's season. We've talked to Kenny about it from Bachelor in Paradise, and obviously Tayshia's season as well. They all say, it's exhausting. Like, it goes, like, it can go for 8 hours right through the night. You wake up, like, you're finishing, it's morning. Ed and Brendan were both like, I was pretty drunk by the end of it. Like, you just keep drinking right through the night. It's not a super healthy situation. Mm-hmm. So I got to imagine that walk of shame out to the limo is jarring at 6:30 in the morning. But I agree. There wasn't that much of a standout connection, but I think we both really like Teddy. We both like Rachel. We both like Susie. There are a few others as well. Like, I like Genevieve. I like, and I'm also missing a million names, but there were some good. I think there's a good cast this time around. I'm optimistic, but we say goodbye to, I don't know, 1,000 women, and so we have 3,000 left. Like, there's a million people.
Had one sad goodbye too, and it was Daria.
Yes, we both really like Daria.
I don't think she was the girl for Clayton. She's too
No, that's the thing. Too good for Clayton. Too good. I like Clayton. I don't think he's the worst bachelor ever. I don't think he was like a bad pick. Daria is too good for Clayton. I'll say that right now. I think she went to Harvard. Now she's in her 3rd year at Yale Law School. It's like,
you want to date Clayton? Are you sure about that?
Clayton, I think, had played 4 snaps at Missouri. I also looked up his stats, as I normally do. Star is a bold word. I'll say that much. I think he had 7 receptions in his senior season, and that was the most he's ever had. No, I'm not trying to pile on the guy. Just let's chill out when we say in our publications, former college football star, not even close. But let's dive in. I guess, do we need to cover the preview? Seems like my big takeaway seems like Clayton's going to be sleeping with a bunch of women, which
it's not the same as the first preview. So it's the exact same, essentially. I think he's going to be sleeping around a lot, and I'm excited for it, honestly. Like, let's said
it's an international season. We see him going back towards his Viking clan in Scandinavian wilderness at a certain point. We see him, they're jet setting all over the place, and those scenarios, if you remember Hannah Brown's season, that is what lends itself to.
And we even have a mini Hannah Brown.
Illicit sex.
Yeah.
We have our mini Hannah Brown. We should inform the people too. We normally do a draft. Do we want to do that today, or do we want to do it next week when we know a few more names?
That's your call. I think we usually do it second week, right?
We normally do it second week. Let's stick to second week. I need to prepare. We need to
learn names first.
Need to learn some names, and then we will pick. But let's dive in before we close off, because again, man, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter recap, simply because that first week, man, it's kind of always like we got a bit more from the Sally, but it's kind of always like, hey, here are the limo entrances. Some are horrible. The rest fade into the background. The winner is probably someone who really either got the first impression rose or didn't make that much of a splash. Right. But let's dive into our rose and our thorn. For those who don't know, our rose is our highlight of the episode. Our thorn is what we're snipping away, is what we're cutting off, is what we're getting rid of. So let's kick it off. Let's go negative first. Gary, what's your thorn this episode?
I don't really know. My thorn would probably have to be the just sheer amount of blonde women that occupied my screen all night. I listen.
Too much saturation.
They were all beautiful, and
all beautiful.
I'm sure they're great people, but like I cannot.
Most of them,
I don't know who you are because
simply too many of you.
Yeah.
All look the same.
Yeah.
Identical. That's fair.
Hey, maybe just like throw like just a little bit of dye in your hair, something like some streaks.
Yeah.
Something to differentiate you from the crowd. Like,
and they're all wearing the same sequin dresses. Like some of the dresses were okay, some of them stood out, but that's a fair one. I'm gonna go with the non-blonde woman. I hate to pile on her. It's got to be Mara. This woman drives me crazy, man. If I went on a date with her, I don't know if I would have made it more than 10 minutes. It's just
she'll be like 5 years into her marriage, and she'll be like, "Yeah, Mara, like marinara sauce," and her husband will just be like, "Oh,
yeah, I get it. Stop it, honey. What's for dinner? We're having spaghetti with my famous marinara." Yeah, so that it's got to be there. And the worst part is, I think she made it through. She made it through, right? She's back next week. Yeah. I would. So, dude, if she pulls out more sauce, it would be great if she had had to wear the gown to all of her dates because she just packed sauce.
Do you think she should stick to the bit, or you should let it go? Is it
too late for my sanity?
For your sanity, not your sanity. Like, get rid of your sanity. Forget your sanity.
Yeah, I think you just got to do it. I think just the whole season. I would love if she just literally saying like they're doing like a football date or something like that, and she just has to wear the same red gown because her whole suitcase was sauce. It's just full of sauce. He's just throwing up at the end. He's got a grown allergy that has developed over time from just too much sauce at once. Yeah, just lean into the bit. Make that your whole thing. You'll make it on Paradise. That'll be your thing again. She might get a sponsorship out of it too. Well, that's what I'm saying. Then maybe parlay it into a sauce sponsorship.
Yeah.
And you're set. I mean, what's better, a sauce sponsorship or Clayton? I mean, I think if you pressed her, she's picking that sauce sponsorship just based off her interest thus far.
Yeah.
But hit me with what's your rose? Hit me with your rose.
My rose is, I might even have to go for 2. Just like the fact that we got
two.
They lived up to the hype. They always say it every season. They're like, this is the most exciting. This is the best season they had. Blah, 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 blah. But we actually got some firsts from the season. And it lived up.
But you can't say that this is the most, like, this year, the most, like, he's the Bachelor. Like, he's what we got through all the 2000s. It is hilarious that this season they're being like, a season unlike you've seen before.
It's like, we've been doing this for 20 years. Yeah. We've seen it before.
You're right. We got some firsts. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And do you have another one on there?
Yeah, Jesse Palmer, killing it, hosting.
Yeah,
I like his position. I like the idea of having different hosts every season, kind of switching it up. Mm-hmm. So yeah, keep it coming.
You know what? He was my other rose. Mm-hmm. I actually don't know if I want more hosts other seasons now. Like, I don't know. I think he's just like crushing it.
Yeah.
I'm down to play around with it, but like, if it ain't broke, this dude is a host. He's a host.
I could see them sticking with him for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's getting the bag. He's interacting with everyone on Twitter. Yeah. So he very clearly loves the new position. Yeah, he was mine. My other one, I'm going to give it to our boy Clayton, man. There was he got ripped apart with the mean tweets. He had a girl leave early. He had another girl leave later, such that she hated him. Never seen that before.
Yeah.
He went through a lot of obstacles. This man is just so excited to be here. The movie Shazam, where that kid gets turned into a superhero.
Yeah.
This is Clayton right now. Clayton is living out that he is literally acting like a 13-year-old who got boom, Shazam, you're the Bachelor. And he's just freaking, dude, there's girls all around me
the limo,
that like me.
When the first limo pops up and he's like, yeah.
He's clapping, yeah, chicks, yeah. It's incredible. He's so excited to be there.
Yeah.
He's spicing things up a little bit, which I don't think people saw. I didn't see him being kind of a little bit of a bad boy. I think he's going to break some rules, as we've learned, as the chicks in the office love to say, there are no rules. And I think we're going to see that with Clayton. He's going to fall in love 50 times. He's going to sleep with all 50 women. He's going to make a huge mess of it, and we're going to love it. To me, it seems like it's very charming. He's very, very charming. Because it kind of seems like he either doesn't realize that women are into him, that he's a hunk. He is giant, but he's a good-looking dude to many, many women. Or he just realized he's a good-looking dude. Like, he's just so excited about the fact that women like him.
Too about it. Like,
yeah,
he just got
like, there's no ego
like
there.
you said, that's a perfect analogy. Like, he just seems like a little kid who got transformed into this big-ass man, and he's, like, getting attention from women all of a sudden. It's just, I think he's going to have
every 13-year-old's dream. This is going to be a
field day for him,
Yeah, so it's like, be excited, be pumped, man. This is fun. And that's what I like about this season. That's what I loved about Michelle's season 2. It was just what the show is. Be excited. It doesn't, and I know we learned a lot from Matt James' season. I love Matt James, but that was a heavy season. Mm-hmm. Katie, I'm out on Katie. That's public, but it was a very different season. It was like a season with a lot of messages in it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just want someone who's pumped to be surrounded by 20 gorgeous women and thinks like, how did this happen? I'm going to make out with all of you tonight. Yeah. That's wicked. I love it. So shout out to Clayton. He's getting a lot of hate. I think he crushed it week 1. I'm very, very excited. What scale of 1 to 10, Gary?
Is he still getting it?
I don't know. I hope not. I haven't really. It's tough to gauge on Twitter because a lot of people are joking.
But I hope the narrative kind of shifts the other way.
I don't know how it could. Like, I don't know how after last night his stock couldn't have risen because I was entertained from start to finish. Mm-hmm. I was not bored at any point, especially compared to other night 1 situations.
Well, I'm always dreading night 1, so the fact that we enjoyed it is just a testament to that. Yeah,
totally. So even if there is some hate, I think it's going to slowly dwindle. And I don't know, some about Peter Weber, like when he messed up, it felt like, dude, you're being reckless. With Clayton, I feel like maybe it's because he's so big and bumbling. He's just like a cartoon bear where you just go like, oh, buddy, you can't tell 8 women you're in love with them. Like it
does feel that way. Yeah.
It does. It feels different. But yeah, I'm very excited. Scale of 1 to 10. How optimistic are you for the season, Barry?
I'm going to give it a solid 8.5. I'm pretty.
Yeah.
There's a chance it could go down, but I think it's going to be a solid season for sure.
I'm in the same place. So we will be back next week. We're going to have our draft. Stay tuned for our live stream. We'll be going live the night of the episode. We had a ton of fun. We were talking with the chat. We apologize to any of our white blonde listeners. We did not mean to offend you. I'm sure you have a very distinct aesthetic and personality. Just if you were in the limo that night, you don't. If you don't. So I guess shots to any of the contestants watching right now. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Rate, review, subscribe, share with a friend. More than anything, we love to see the numbers keep ticking up. We are going to be blasting through the season, enjoying every minute of it. Producer Gary, send us home. Remember,
a wet bird never flies at night.
Thank you guys, and peace.